ಹಲೋ ಡಿಯರ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಅಕ್ಷರಧಾರೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ದೇವರಾಜ್. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ದೇವರಾಜ್. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷನ್ನು ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ವೀಡಿಯೋಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಟಿಪ್ಸನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅನ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು 8 ಜುಲೈ 2023. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಓದೋದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಸೊ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಓದೋದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ನೀವಿನ್ನೂ ನನ್ನ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನನ್ನ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೌಟ್ಸನ್ನು ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು ಟು ರಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಯುವರ್ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ let's start the newspaper reading. The Hindu, which is very important for the point of competitive exams and also for the communication development. It will make you very better if you start reading at least reading the newspaper at least 2 hours a day. In next 30 days, I'm sure you will be very fluent in English. So let's start the newspaper reading. ಓಕೆ, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ನ ಓದೋದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಹಿಂದೂ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಹಿಂದೂ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್, this is Bangalore edition newspaper, the Hindu newspaper. So it has this is Saturday. Some advertisements. So if anyone interested to join for the online open distance courses, there is opportunity. The Karnataka State Open University KSOU has given the notification for the admissions for the graduates and graduation and post graduation courses. If you guys interested to join, you guys can join. Here it is the details. So that is totally distance learning mode. Can learn anywhere at your convenient, so just by sitting at your home. This is totally on distance mode. Let's go to the next page. The 1 year of free power in Punjab. Special publication from the Hindu group. So fast and more. This is not important. Home is where plants soar. Knowing how to identify warning signs can help maintain healthy indoor plants, says Tej Lily. TRA mulls need for a licensing framework. DD attaches assets worth 52.24 crore. US to send cluster bombs to aid Ukraine. Infinite variety of customs. The PM push for UCC has led to alarm among tribal communities. Alkaraj sweeps into the third round. Siddaramaiah presents a guarantee budget with promise of welfare for all. Defamation case. Gujarat FC refuses relief to Rahul. The court declines to state the conviction of the Congress leader, saying he used PM's name to add sensation and affect the outcome of the 2019 general election. It calls for beauty in politics. Disappointed Congress says it will move SC. Balasore train collision. CBI arrests 3 officials. Central posts power in as Bengal gets set to vote today. BJP chooses leaders to be in charge of assembly elections in four states. VTU to adapt industrial content in all engineering branches. An expert team from Vishwara Technological University visited Indian Institute of Technology IIT Madras and studied the new technologies in the curriculum of various engineering streams. Vaisala vehicles get digital wireless sets. The Vaisala patrolling across the city are minimizing their response time to a maximum of 9 minutes. Tall in rain-related incidents touches 9 in Dakshina Kannada Udupi districts. Stated to offer 4 lakh life accident cover to gig workers, but they demand more. The Congress in its election manifesto had said it would set up a gig workers welfare board, but the budget has no mention of it. Crane collapses at a metro construction site. Metro services to be disrupted. Buggy for Mysuru Zoo. Monsoon fast. Bangalore KFI Museum in Bangalore and Film City in Mysuru. World class incubation center to come up. Man arrested for sitting in MLA seat. Technology innovation park to be developed. Automated and decentralized blood bank. Brand Bangalore initiative receives no major boost. The budget presented by the Congress government has little to offer towards building new infrastructure in the city. Apart from that, it has also slashed allocation for road infrastructure. 37-kilometer metro line from Imbal to Sajjapur proposed. Welfare program for OBC students to be reviewed. To be revived, yes. Museums across state is said to be developed. Airstrips are proposed in Dharmasthala, Kodagu and Chikkamangaluru. Ecologists question move. STP infrastructure expected to get a blip. Cardiac care in Puneet Rajkumar's name. Kidwai gets 20 crore to upgrade facilities. Reforms in public sector undertakings. Eco coffee tourism to be promoted. 50 lakh saplings to be planted. Taxes, borrowings, allocation cards to fund guarantee schemes. The guarantees will provide 4,000 to 5,000 monthly to a beneficiary family, says Chief Minister Siddaramaya. And 100 crore to set up Christian Development Corporation in state. CM trains guns on previous BJP government for corruption, physical discipline, indiscipline, blames center for injustice to state. Excise duty on IML up by 20%, BF from around 75% to around 85%. Protecting Nandini from merger, promoting GI tagged varieties in memory of Tejasvi and Kalburi, marketing 50 years of Karnataka, budget without leaders of the opposition. Budget makes clear affirmation that welfare has the pride of place. Vision document to battle financial crisis plaguing energy sector. Krishi Bhagya climate resilient scheme to be reintroduced. An EPTV replaced with state education policy. Better facilities promised for dialysis patients. Petition in Madras HC questions governor's authority to keep his dismissal order in abeyance. Chief Justice S.V. Gangapurwala and Justice P.D. Adhikeshvallu have decided to hear this case along with 3 other petitions, questioning the arrested minister's continuation in the state cabinet as he continues to be under judicial custody. Artist Nambu Diri leaves behind a legacy of indelible images. Coimbatore DIG ends live. Stalin expresses shock. What is this? Vijay Kumar, Deputy Director General of Police, Coimbatore Range, allegedly died by suicide at his camp opposite Red Fields here on Friday. He was 47. The officer allegedly grabbed his gunman Ravi Chandran's pistol and shot himself point blank on the forehead at the portico of the camp opposite 6:50 a.m. He was about to leave for the police recruit school campus. around 2 kilometers away to play badminton. He died on the spot, the police said. After Ravichandran raised the alarm, policemen from the adjacent camp office of the Coimbatore district superintendent of police ran to the spot. They rushed the Vijay Kumar to the Coimbatore Medical College Hospital where doctors declared him broad dead. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin expressed shock at the death of Vijay Kumar, recalling the officer's service to the force in various capacities, including as the superintendent of police. Mr. Stalin said his death was a huge loss to the Tamil Nadu police. He expressed his condolences to the bereaved family and friends. Vijay Kumar joined the service in 2003 as Deputy Superintendent of Police and became an IPS in 2009. Assistance for overcoming social suicidal thoughts is available on the state's health helpline 204, Tele Manas 14416 and the Sneha Suicide Prevention Helpline. It's too bad, yaar. Bad news. CM presents guarantee budgets with promise of welfare for all. Sobriety after the euphoria of the US state visit. Let's read this editorial page, which is has lot information. So let's make it visible. The euphoria stemming from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to the United States in June is yet to subside. All of India continues to savor the images that marked this highly publicized visit. Those with long memories of US India relations in the past or ends left to wonder whether this is the same US that had let India down in the past at crucial moments. Two US presidents in particular, Lyndon B. Johnson in 1963 and Richard Nixon in 1971, are still remembered for their infamous roles in this respect. Johnson for denying aid to India in the wake up of China's perfidious attack on India in 1962, and Nixon during the India-Pakistan conflict in 1971 for sending the US 7th Fleet steaming up the Bay of Bengal in a show of force intended to deter India from supporting the liberation struggle in East Bengal, which ultimately led to the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh. This time, there was no room whatsoever to doubt in which corner the US stands in relation to India. The promise of the transfer of technology in several areas, most conspicuously in terms of producing fighter jet engines for the Indian Air Force, and holding out the promise of the initiative on critical and emerging technology, marks a remarkable turn in the American attitude. All these, and with the many more agreements on critical technologies on the anvil, could lead to a quantum jump in India's military and aerospace tech capabilities. Many are bound to review this as an attempt by the US to persuade India to accept an alliance status, vice versa. The fine print on the recent negotiations does not, however, indicate this as a possibility at this time. Strategic ties are certain to attain a new dimension, and the US side certainly hopes it could lead to a deeper, more effective, and more diverse defense partnership. Yet, and despite India's attractiveness to the US as a huge market for goods and increasingly as a destination for state of the art military items, there are miles to go before India is viewed as an alliance partner. Perceptions on what constitutes a successful visit often vary, but all things considered, the Prime Minister's visit to the US this time should be deemed a major success and as enhancing India's position as a prime defense technological partner of the US. It is certain to not only favorably impact on India's US relations but also India's standing in the world. Indian visits then and now. Every Indian Prime Minister is, of course, entitled to his or place in the sun. A good visit to the US by an Indian Prime Minister is generally viewed as one clear index of India's standing in the Committee of Nations. It is as tempting to compare Mr. Modi's latest visit with that of other Indian Prime Ministers since independence. There were visits by Jawaharlal Nehru. He met with Arias Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and John F. Kennedy. And Lal Bahadur Shastri's visit never happened in the end. While Indira Gandhi's visit to Washington as Prime Minister was a disaster of sorts, with both India and the US having their own versions of what transpired. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's visit was by all accounts deemed as success, breaking many previous shibboleths. Admittedly, none of them matched the euphoria created by the visit of two late latter day Prime Ministers Manmohan Singh and Mr. Modi. Only the most foolhardy would possibly attempt a comparison between the visits of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh during his tenure, especially the one in 2005 and Mr. Modi's latest endeavor. The question uppermost in everyone's mind would be whether handing nuclear apartheid imposed on India after the 1974 nuclear test Buddha is smiling. The defense technological breakthroughs achieved during the recent visit are more significant for India's future. The civil nuclear deal marked a shift. Admittedly, the opening of a civil nuclear cooperation between India and the US marked the beginning of a tectonic shift in global affairs at the start of the 21st century, unmatched before or since. Securing a waiver under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and obtaining the approval of the US Congress for the iconic 123 agreement that paved the way for an India-specific safeguards agreement with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Subsequently, were not merely unprecedented, but one-time achievements, the like of which have few equals in the annual of world history. As a result, India today has the freedom to maintain a select number of reactors outside IAEA safeguards, enabling it to utilize them for military purposes. The freedom India currently enjoys for reprocessing and enrichment are other critical outcomes that stemmed from the visit. What is also interesting to note that is that all this was achieved despite the entire US establishment, with the sole exception of President George Bush, being opposed to these concessions, a testimony to the nature of the proposal personal relationship that existed between then US President George W. Bush and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Seldom has such a shift been witnessed in the global arena, due solely to the personal chemistry between leaders of two countries. A testimony to the civilizational attributes of the two leaders at a time. During Dr. Manmohan Singh's state visit to the US in 2009, the piece of de-resistance was the exchanges between two of the world's most cerebral leaders at the time. With US President Barack Obama and Dr. Manmohan Singh. Mr. Obama's remarks at the start of his private meeting with Dr. Singh, "You are my guru," says it all. What followed was an avalanche of results, and there was no obvious quid pro quo expected has sought for both in 2005 and in 2009. It was evident that it was India's reputation as a civilizational entity that seemed to weigh with US leaders at the time. Be cautious, look at history. The United States of the 21st century is certainly different in many respects from the US in the late 20th century. In the euphoria that exists following Mr. Modi's visit, it is, however, desirable for India to be cautious and heed the lessons of of history. India certainly is not at least at this stage, the kind of ally that the US seeks or demands. Moreover, US politics is currently in a state of flux, more so than at most times in the past.
The individual preferences of the US president in office and the weak factor in US foreign policy are other aspects that foreign countries, India included, can seldom comprehend adequately. India again is not unfamiliar with the way the US changes its priorities and friends. Consequently, and despite the warmth of the reception accorded to Mr. Modi in Washington, India should realize that it cannot at any time be the kind of ally that the US seeks. Sober leaders on both sides must also understand that the current European relations are notwithstanding. The situation has been dictated due to circumstance rather than conviction. This must not be lost sight of by India in particular. For instance, India cannot possibly be part of an arrangement such as the AUKUS Pact that binds the US with the United Kingdom and Australia. The fundamental underlying the Quad, India, Japan, Australia, and the US, and AUKUS are very different. India must instead use the outcome of the Prime Minister's visit to skillfully function as a India as a bridge power. It is eminently suited to play such a role and should not be inveigled through blandishments such as defense ties to play the role of a subordinate to the US in the politics of the Asia Pacific. India's potential should be marshaled to act as a bridge between conflicting parties in Indo-Pacific, in West Asia, and in Europe. This could be the enduring legacy of the Prime Minister's latest visit to the US, which has occasioned to so much of interest not only in the US and India but across the world. It is for India to seize the moment and play its rightful role. This is about India America relations, which was the past relation. Ominous signs. India must calibrate its diplomacy on Khalistan issue to better effect the long road to finding true peace in Yemen. Let's read this editorial, this page actually. In April this year, just as the Saudi led war in Yemen completed 8 years, a diplomatic delegation from the kingdom reached Sana'a airport for talks with its Houthi enemies. Some details of the talks soon became public. Building on the year long ceasefire, the two sides agreed to a 6 month truce to be followed by talks over 3 months to agree on a 2 year transition period when the details of the Yemeni states that would emerge after the war would be finalized. The Houthis asked that the blockade of Sana'a airport and Hodeidah port be eased and the kingdom to pay the salaries from the country's oil revenues. An immediate exchange of prisoners was also agreed to. Death and destruction in Yemen. Saudi Arabia, leading a coalition of some Arab forces, had initiated military cooperations on March 26, 2015, to prevent the Houthis, a Shia militia representing the marginalized Jaidi community and aligned with Iran, from taking control of Yemen, with which the kingdom shares a porous 1,400-kilometer border. However, the war has ground to a stalemate, with the Houthis controlling the capital and the principal port. The coalition controls the sea and the sky and large parts of the south, thus preventing essential food, medical, and energy supplies from reaching the population. With a death toll of about 4 lakh, including 85,000 children and several million displaced, Yemen is in the throes of a severe humanitarian crisis. 80% of its people, over 20 million, need assistance, while 6 million are on the brink of starvation. Given the estimated expenditure of about 60 billion in the 8 year conflict, Saudi Arabia has been anxious to obtain a phase saving exit. The Saudi Iran Accord, brokered by China in March, provided this opportunity. There are reports that Iran has agreed to curtail military supplies to the Houthis and facilitate a peace process. thus up opening the doors for the Saudi Houthis engagement in April. What has been achieved so far is the exchange of prisoners and the easing of blockade on Sana and Odeida. Humanitarian aid has come and flights have taken Yemeni pilgrims, including Houthi leaders, to Mecca for the Hajj. Challenges to the peace process. Challenges coming in the way of the peace process include the Houthi insistence that the kingdom pay the salaries of all government officials, including armed forces personnel, for the last few years from Yemeni oil revenues. The Saudis are oddly enthusiastic about funding their former enemies. The Houthis are also seeking compensation from the Saudis for war damage. The latter are willing to consider contributing to reconstruction, but balk the idea of compensation. The Houthis are also reluctant to engage with the eight-member Saudi-supported Presidential Leadership Council that heads the internationally recognized Yemeni government. They insist on direct negotiations with the Saudis, while the latter wish to be mediators between the Yemeni factions. The crucial point relating to the Yemen scenario is that the Houthis have won the war and the Saudis are desperate to get out of the country. Thus, the Houthis have the upper hand in the negotiations, vice versa. The Saudis and the PLC set up by them. Even as Saudi involvement with Yemen decreases, the PLC will lose its standing and credibility and open the country, particularly the northern areas, to Houthi control. But there is another matter that muddies the Yemen scenario. The Southern Transnational Council, a United Arab Emirates backed movement based in Aden, wants the southern provinces that constitute the former People's Democratic Republic of Yemen PDRY, an independent communist country from 1967 to 1990, to once again become an independent state. A UAE academic has caused considerable disquiet in Yemen circles by suggesting possible names for the few new entity: Arab Southern State or Arab Adramat State. This reflects the competing geopolitical interests of Saudi Arabia and the UAE in Yemen. The UAE's control over ports in South Yemen, Eritrea, and Somaliland, as also the island of Socotra in the Gulf of Aden and Perim Islands at the mouth of the Bab al Mandab, has already given it a dominant geopolitical and commercial position in the Western Indian Ocean. It is backing the STC's independence agenda to retain these advantages. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, it is seeking a united Yemen so that it can assert influence over the South Yemeni provinces of Adramaut and Al Mahara. Adramaut shares an 800-kilometer border with the kingdom, while Al Mahara could provide an oil pipeline to Saudi Arabia to the Indian Ocean, bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. Hence, the kingdom has sponsored its own Adramaut National Council that rejects the independence agenda of the STC and is content with autonomy is in a united Yemen. Recent reports also says that Saudi Arabia, anxious to leave Yemen, might accept a north-south division but would want to elbow the UAE out and itself control Aden and the southern area. Another complicating feature is that despite the Saudi Iran ban Homi, Iran may be expected to maintain ties with the triumphant Houthis, retain its influence in Yemen, and even consolidate its presence in the Red Sea. Thus, despite the cessation of hostilities in the war ravaged country, rivalries between the diverse Yemeni factions and the competing interests of regional powers will ensure that peace and stability will remain a long way off. This is about the Yemen plight, which past plight. Let's go to the next page. A truce treaty. Congress seems to have bought peace in Rajasthan by taking pallet on board. The infinite variety of custom. The Prime Minister's push for a uniform civil code has led to alarm among tribal communities in different regions of the country. Rahul Karmakar and Abhinayak Lakshman report from the northeastern states and Jharkhand on the worry that customs and age-old practices are recognized by loud soon be under threat. Let's go to the next page. Ajit's faction brushes up NCP Working Committee decision. I am familiar with the BJP, says Pankaja Munde. Neelam Gorhe defects from Uddhav camp to Shinde bloc. Gujarat HC refuses relief to Rahul Gandhi. BJP welcomes HC verdict in defamation case against Rahul. Unproductive politics to divert people's attention. Disappointed Congress says it will move SC. How definite is Modi as a collection of persons? Bagil government a model of corruption, Modi. Gita Press is a living faith, no less than a temple, says PM Modi. Narendra Modi interacting with a student in Vande Bharat Express in Gorakhpur. ED attaches assets of CSOD other in a Delhi excise case. Delhi BJP President Virendra Sachdev plays Aam Aadmi Party. He says that it has no grounds to claim that there was no liquor scam and calls upon Kejriwal to expel former Deputy Chief Minister. Vishwa Bharati University eats out at Sain, calls him a migrant traveller. Union government holds backdoor with talks with the cookies in New Delhi. People pained by PM's silence on Manipur violence says left MPs. Deport Khalistanis and Doval tells UK counterpart Tim Burrows. Act against Tripura BJP MLA who watched porn in assembly. Selective ban app messaging app may be looked at TIA. The body has sought inputs on bringing apps like WhatsApp under a licensing framework. This comes as a turning point as it had recommended against the regulation of such apps in 2020. Words like fake, false, misleading in IT rules problematic. Bombay High Court expressed concern about the authority conferred on fact-checking unit. Harassment case Delhi court summons Bridge Bhushan. As he turns down petition and production for Fush plain tips. MC Donald stores put tomato up the menu amid fries rice. BBC gets fresh summons over Modi documentary. Delhi to host test run of hydrogen fuel cell buses later this year. MPU Nation incident tribal victim to get 6.5 lakh relief. Bus driver was drunk during Buldhana accident report. Ida's gift to humanity. AIIBC's internal review found no evidence of China influence. 3 Palestinians killed during violence in occupied West Bank. Thousands rally in Pakistan to condemn Sweden Quran burning. Twitter threatens action against Meta over its rival app threats. She said Jack to train Ukraine pilots supply chapels. Used to send cluster bombs, armored vehicles to Ukraine. Bombs will come from a Pentagon stocks. The decision comes despite widespread concerns that the munitions can cause civilian casualties and sparked a call from UN to avoid using them. Treasury chief says US not seeking winner take all competition with China. Texas gunman in Walmart shooting gets 90 life sentences. So, he still faces a separate trial in a Texas court that could end with him getting the death penalty. Anti-ad group fined 1 billion by Chinese authorities. Sri Lanka counting on Indian tourists to bolster economic recovery. Government to share PM Gati Shakti data. Industry and potential investors will have access to infrastructure data captured on the PM Gati Shakti platform, according to a top government official. data sharing to be compatible with the policies of science and electronic and IT ministers. Job gains slow, wage rise to spur paid hike. GST registered firms must review scored their addresses. Yokohama, India has the fifth rank in India's car radial tiles market. SEBI amends rules to avoid multiple filings by debate issues. It will Wild Emperor versus Silver Canyon in a DM Kumar Swamy Memorial Cup. Second consecutive fall for Raji. Tamim reverses a retirement decision. Litton named skipper. Sri Lanka beats West Indies in qualifier dead rubber. Philipson Dennis Cavendish 2-day France career stage record. FIFA to trial changes to offside rules as proposed Wenger. Stokes pulls England out of trouble. Cummins scores 6. Heartbreaks for Murray. Alcaraz moves ahead. Sabalenka fights on. Vaishak incisive bowling gets South Zone back in the game against North Zone. West pulls further ahead after Pujara's chanceless 100. Verstappen dominates practice at the British GP. Slew of incentives for sports in state budget. Is Red Bull's patience with Farage wearing thin? Have not lost it. You don't go from winning races to all of a sudden being a very bad driver. Think people at the sport forget the momentum detail we are operating at. We know that what he is capable of. We have seen it earlier in the year. If he just preaches shoulders of a beat, it will just come to him more naturally. After a strong start to the season, when he looked like a genuine threat to teammate Max Verstappen, the Mexican driver buckled under pressure, making unforced errors. The slide has raised questions about his future with the Bulls, questions he must now answer on the track. While Carsten Warham's revenge quest on track. Without trying to be cocky, I think we have changed the way everyone runs the 400-meter hurdles. A lot of people start faster now than they did. You have to open top because you can't go out there and pick up these tenths of a second in the hand. The Olympic champion is still annoyed about losing his World Championships crown last year, having recovered from the injury that hampered his 400-meter hurdles title defense. The 27-year-old world record holder is building to a peak for next month's World Championships. This is the last page. Today is Saturday. There is no any text and contest page, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the newspaper reading, and please subscribe the channel, like and comment for more videos related to education, healthcare, and personal issues, especially for in the field of education. So let's see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.